video, we're going to take a look at creating invoices for work items. And there's really two scenarios that we can look at. The first is that we're invoicing a fixed fee work item. And right now we're looking at a fixed fee work item. And it's important to note a couple things. So if we edit this work item, let's just go and take a look at the budget. And we can see, first of all, that it is billable, it is fixed fee, and we are pulling that fixed fee from the financial budget, which has been set here. Okay, and we can see the total financial budget of $875. That comes from a labor budget of $750 and then an expense budget of $125. So total $875. So far, so good. Let's just close that. Now let's create the invoice. Now we're looking at the work item page, but if you were viewing the slider, you would have the same options in the three-dot menu. So we do create invoice. And then you'll notice, first of all, it did pull in the contact and the account associated with that work item. So we didn't have to go and add that information. And you'll also notice that among the 6 different types of things that we could invoice, of course, it's just pulling in that work item. And let's expand this out. And as you can see, it added that fixed fee work item. Okay, in fact, when you create an invoice, work items can only be added explicitly if they are fixed fee. And we'll take a look at time and materials scenarios next. But anyway, we've got the fixed fee work item. We can see the information. Of course, we can turn off certain fields if we don't want to include them, just to make it easy for our customer. And there you go. Pretty straightforward. Just go ahead and click save when you're ready to save the invoice. Now, the other scenario is if it is a time and materials work item. So we're going to go over to a different work item here. So this is time and materials. And if we edit the work item, we can just confirm. So we've got the budget section. So again, it's billable, but in this case, time and materials. And we are billing at the work roll rate. Okay, so that is $175. So for this work item, the work roll, which is engineer, has a rate of $175. And that's something that you can set up in the admin section. And so let's go ahead and close that. And if we scroll down, we can actually see that we have a couple of time logs logged against this work item and also one expense. It's important to note that the time logs and the expenses have to be approved in order for them to show up on the invoice by default. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and create the invoice. And again, you can see here that it pulled in the contact and the account. But in this case, instead of the work item being selected, it selected time logs and expenses, okay? Because, as I mentioned earlier, you can only explicitly invoice fixed fee work items. But in this case, being time and materials, obviously we're invoicing the time logs and the expenses logged against that work item. So if we expand these, we can see that with the expense, we have that one expense as we saw. And, I mentioned that it's only going to pull in approved time logs and expenses by default, but you can change that. So if you have not yet approved those items, they wouldn't show up, but you could just simply click there to select unapproved, in which case you would find them. And then if we expand time logs, we can see those 2 time logs that we had applied to the work item. So there you go. That's how you can create invoices for work items, considering the 2 different scenarios, fixed fee work items or time and materials work items.